This week in Jamaica Now. Kartel is free. Jubilation across the streets of capital Kingston and Waterford in Portmore. Moments after leaving prison, Kartel issued a warning to Jamaica's young people. And attorneys Isat, Buchanan and Clarke celebrated for their role in freeing Vybz Kartel and his co-defendants. And track and field action has started at the Paris Olympic Games. Jamaica looks for its first medal this weekend. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. Dancehall star Vybz Kartel was freed of a murder charge by the Jamaican Court of Appeal this week. Freedom on Wednesday, a day before Jamaica celebrated Emancipation Day, capped an almost 13-year journey of arrests, trial, convictions and a successful appeal for Kartel, Sean Storm Campbell, Andre St. John and Kahira Jones. Mr. Jones, however, will remain in custody because he's serving a sentence in an unrelated case. The highly anticipated decision was delivered by newly minted President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Marvin MacDonald Bishop. She led a panel of 3 judges which comprised Justices Paulette Williams and David Fraser.
The egregious nature and seriousness of the offence in this case is beyond argument. So too is the prevalence of the offence of murder in Jamaica. We make bold to say that the features of this case bear every hallmark of a deliberate attack on and barefaced defiance of law and order, involving allegations of transactions relating to illegal firearms, a killing in respect of which the body of the deceased has not been recovered, or should we say an alleged killing in which the body of the deceased has not been recovered, and interference with a crime scene while it was under the control of the police. The court is therefore satisfied that the nature, seriousness, and prevalence of the alleged offence in this case are powerful factors that weigh in favor of a retrial. The court, however, finds that there are several equally powerful factors which, when combined, militate against ordering a new trial. In summary, these factors are the insufficient and inadequate account by the prosecution for the availability of its witnesses and trial exhibits. Witnesses and trial exhibits relied upon by the appellants, which tended to support their defense at their first trial, are now unavailable or cannot be accounted for. 3, the appellant's trial in the Supreme Court was complex, lasting 64 days, and utilized a significant share of the court and the appellant's resources. Therefore, the time, financial costs, expense, and impact on the court's resources, as well as other cases in the queue awaiting trial, we find that this is significant and it militates against a new trial.
Justice MacDonald Bishop said that the court also found favour with the arguments about the financial and medical impact of a new trial, as well as breaches of their rights to a trial in a reasonable time. The court also rejected the arguments that pre-trial publicity would have affected getting a fair trial.
We conclude that the interests of justice do not require a new trial to be ordered for the appellants, and we therefore make the following order. Judgments and verdicts of acquittal are entered in relation to the appellants.
The government has promised a law to ensure a judge can continue with a trial if a jury is tampered with. And 3 hours after his acquittal, Kartel stepped out of a prison in downtown Kingston into freedom to the embrace and chants of adoring fans who were under the watchful eyes of the security forces. 48-year-old artiste, who is battling ill health, had a message for Jamaica's youth as he boarded a limousine. Kartel was flanked by his fiancée, Sidem Ozturk, and Tommy Thompson, the chief executive officer of Bright Light Funeral Home in Kingston. There were also scenes of jubilation in Kartel's hometown of Waterford in St. Catherine.
How you feel? Victory! You don't know already. You don't know already. You don't know already. Find no year, no cheat. Right away. You want to name free teacher, free teacher, free teacher. Them a fight teacher, fight teacher, fight teacher. Who no feel Lego teacher, Lego teacher, Lego teacher. Who no old teacher, old teacher. To the world! To the world! When I talk about Cartel, I talk about Cartel.
And just after the judgment was handed down, the successful defense team led by attorneys John Clarke and Isat Buchanan were flocked by cheerful fans who gathered outside the King Street Court for the decision. Mr. Buchanan and Mr. Clarke praised the Jamaican Constitution.
Cannot do anything without God. That's where I start. I'm going to use the word happy for the appellants. I'm going to let the Jamaican people know that although there's fixing for the justice system, the Constitution works. It has always been our belief. And I want to thank the team, Mr. Clarke, Mr. Bish, Mr. Chevalier, and myself, for the hard work that we put into it. It was a long fight, many years. The court must be commended, because you have to bear in mind the court had to go through almost 10 volumes and the court did it in record time. It is not typical, bear in mind the short resources that our judges have, that they can return judgments within a time that they would like. And ultimately in this case, they work overtime. You heard the judges thanking specifically the judicial clerks for ensuring that they could meet the timeline that they gave to the public, and we're very grateful for that.
And Senator Tom Tavares-Vincent, who led the cartel defense at the trial in 2014, welcomed the decision.
Speaking solely in our capacity as former defense attorneys, when the Adidja Palmer et al. Matter came up for trial in the first instance, the team, including myself, Christian Tavares-Vincent, Pierre Rogers, Tamika Harris, Michael Lawn, and Everton Dua, welcome the judgment handed down this afternoon in the Court of Appeal by the recently appointed President of the Court of Appeal. Certainly, as lead defense attorney at the trial, I believe that the judgment is in the interest of justice and lends credibility to the various objections which were raised by the defense team at the initial trial. Let us not forget that the Privy Council had initially quashed Kartel's conviction. I think the fair treatment of this kind of high-profile matter by the Privy Council is another reason why many Jamaicans, including myself, continue to support the retention of the Privy Council as the country's final court of appeal, or as it's referred to nowadays, the apex court.
And Senator Tavares-Vincent is also the president of Jamaica's Senate. Meanwhile, the popular dancehall entertainer wasted no time in releasing a new album to mark his freedom. The 12-track compilation, dubbed First Week Out, was released Thursday on the artist's streaming profiles. The project, with a runtime of just over 32 minutes, features the dancehall artiste Six Boss Squash. In other news, the Forestry Department this week defended itself against what it describes as the misleading and false narrative over the seizure of lumber in a section of the Cockpit Country in Trelawny. The department's statement on July 28 came after a social media post by a compound Maroon chief, Richard Curry, who questioned why the agency was moving lumber from a section of the environmentally protected area known for its endemic plants and animals.
Is the Forestry Department doing with mahogany? Solid mahogany. You know what this tree must have been? This is a solid mahogany tree, right? The Forestry Department is moving up. So when our people have a problem and we raise the problem, it is as if we're the obstruction. But when they're pilfering wood, forest, lumber, what is the Forestry Department doing with mahogany? Answer me that.
But the Forestry Department said that the social media claims are false. It said it disrupted an illegal logging operation on Friday, July 26. It said while its teams were retrieving the lumber, they were blocked in by persons in the area and help had to be sought from the police and soldiers. The Forestry Department says it has so far seized over 750 planks taken from various native trees, including the Jamaican mahogany, blue maho, bitterwood, bitter damsel and prickly yellow. No one has been arrested. Jamaica Public Service Company JPS customers who received estimated bills in July will pay 40% less on their August bills after an intervention by the Office of Utilities Regulation. The move follows the impact of Hurricane Beryl on July 3. In sports, Jamaica's trio of Tia Clayton, Sasha-Lee Forbes and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce booked their spot in the semi-final round of the women's 100 metres at the Paris Olympic Games. Only the top two from each semi-final will advance to the final, with the next two fastest qualifying. Two-time Olympic champion Fraser-Pryce will clash with reigning world champion Sha'Carri Richardson and St. Lucian speedster Julian Alfred in semi-final 2. Jamaican Sasha-Lee Forbes will run in semi-final 1 along with Dina Asher-Smith of Great Britain. Tia Clayton will line up in semi-final 3 with Daryl Nita and American Tonisha Terry. The event will start on Saturday at 12:50 p.m. Jamaica time. Now, Ms. Forbes replaced world 200-metre champion Shericka Jackson, who pulled out of the short sprint amid concerns about her health status. She pulled up during a race in Hungary last month. Meanwhile, earlier this week, MVP coach Stephen Francis says he's eager to see how national 100-metre champion Kishane Thompson handles himself in his Olympic debut.
Everybody knows how he has done his times, and I can't predict what he's going to do. Just to say that, you know, I don't think anybody has yet seen him run at his maximum so we will see if that's going to happen this Olympics and how fast that will be.
The heats of the men's 100 metres will be run on Saturday and the final on Sunday. In the women's 800 metres preliminary, Natoya Gould-Toppin easily navigated her heat to qualify for the semi-finals, and Jamaica's mixed 4x400 metre relay team qualified for the event's final on time after failing to get into the top 3 automatic spots in their heat. In other news, Akeelia Smith and Shanika Ricketts have also qualified for the final of the women's triple jump. Reigning national champion Lamara Diston failed to progress beyond the qualification in the women's high jump. The 24-year-old had 3 unsuccessful attempts, clearing the bar at 1.92 metres. Despite fouling 2 of his 3 attempts in the men's shot put qualification round, Jamaican Rajendra Campbell booked his spot in Saturday's final with his opening effort of 21.05 metres. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, sprint legend Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is competing in her 5th and final Olympic Games. Let's look back now at some of her past Olympic appearances.